Hey, good weekend to you. Welcome to Leading Edge. Good to have you along. I'm Jerry Anderson. The pandemic threw you a curve, didn't it? It did for a lot of you. You signed up for unemployment benefits, which helped, but now some agencies are coming around asking for some of that money back. I'll tell you what, it was their numbers, people, not yours. You did nothing wrong ahead on the program. We're going to help you keep that cash. But up first, the pandemic also still touching us as we head back to school. After winding down a very strange, tough school year last June, we kind of felt like we were out of the woods, but then a variant, a different form of COVID, and the mask came off, and the expected rush to get vaccinated, which was just that at first, a rush, cooled significantly. And here we go, back to school with cases and hospitalizations climbing once again in this country. Kadee Anstadt is the superintendent of one of the largest public school districts in our area, Washington Local Schools, right here in Toledo. Nice to see you, by the way. To mask or not to mask? That is my first question. In Washington Local, you're doing what?
Well, as of last night, we are masking. We're going to begin the year K-12 with a universal mask policy. The board voted on it last night. And I think, we all hope this is temporary. You mentioned we had such hope. I think all of us came into fall thinking, okay, finally, we're heading down the home stretch. And then the Delta variant obviously it's growing, and it's growing among our youth. And there are people, I said this last night, Jerry, there are people that say, wait for the data to tell us whether or not we should have masks on. And what I'll say to you is, I never want data to tell me I should have made a mask decision earlier.
Yeah. Now, at that point, it's out there. And this one we know is wildly contagious. You've been very open, Superintendent, about your desire to see more people out your way get vaccinated. Mm-hmm. Help me out. What is the latest? What is the rates in your area? And what, not only what is it, but why do you think it is what it is?
I think Governor DeWine the other day indicated that, it's ticking up slightly. And I think we're seeing a little bit of that. We're seeing a slight uptick, but it's not what we need it to be at all. We held a vaccine clinic, gave away everything that we could give away to get kids their AirPods and TVs and $100 gift cards and all of that. And 40 showed up. Wow. And what we know in polling our kids is that only maybe 15% of those kids are vaccinated. And really, that's the reason the mask is so important. Low vaccination rates, high infection rates in our community. If you look at our zip codes, 43612, 1306, those are all zip codes that are seeing a really high incidence. As a matter of fact, 13 and 12 are vying for number 1 and number 2 in Lucas County is the highest infection rates.
Well, when you see that low vaccination rate, that's a reflection of mom and dad, right?
Yeah, well, it could be. But I mean, when you look at the 0 to 18-year-olds, right? I mean, 18-year-olds can make the decision, but everybody else can't. I would have thought that our 12 to 18-year-olds would have rushed to protect themselves. We, like you said, there was a rush to get the vaccine and then it just waned. Yeah. And I think that's why we're seeing the infection rates rise, is we just don't have enough people vaccinated. Yes, you can still get COVID if you're vaccinated. It breaks through. It's kind of like you can still get in a car accident if you have a seatbelt on, but it's going to be much less severe. Your injuries, your sickness will be much less severe.
Hindsight is 20/20, as the saying goes. Did we hurt our kids' education by cutting back on in-person instruction last year? And if so, how badly?
I think that we did what we had to do at the time. I mean, we were protecting our community. It was pre-vaccine. We didn't have any, our teachers, our staff. If we had stayed in school, I don't know that we could have stayed in school because so many people would have become infected and would have worked itself out. I mean, when we had to shut down in November, we were seeing numbers climb. I was trying to stay in right up until Thanksgiving at that time. And honestly, our infection rate got so high in the district that we had to shut down. So I think we did the best that we could under the circumstances. It didn't help, I will tell you. I think we poured every bit of heart and soul that we had into it, but it's not enough. We need our kids knee to knee with us. We need to get our arms around them and look them in the eye and figure out what they need, not only from a academic standpoint, but also from, a social well-being, a mental health well-being. Definitely.
But you will have a distance learning component in place. However, as you start your school year, you have, it sounds like, pared it back.
Pared back significantly. We had 1,600 kids in our distance learning last year, in our what we call Panther Virtual Academy. This year, signups were in April, and we had around 250. 4th through 12th grade. Our demand K-3 was so small. And honestly, we believe those learners really need to be in school. So we didn't offer it K-3. We didn't really have a product that we were proud of K through 3. Putting a teacher on a Zoom screen for kindergartners, it's really tough. My grandson was in kindergarten last year. He had the most spectacular teacher ever, but it was really tough.
Yeah.
Really tough.
Yeah. And I do some work down here in Bowling Green. And when I talk to parents, because we were all on remote for over half the school year, no in-person learning for the entire fall and into the winter. And I would talk to parents, and it was, and you probably heard this too, Dr. Anstadt, that I'd say, how are the kids doing with this? And even from a parent, you might hear, well, my daughter's doing really well. But boy, my son is just not. So even within a family, 2 different kids, I mean, some flourished, not like face-to-face, but some were doing fine, and others just were really struggling. So you guys just voted on this midweek on the mandatory mask policy. You didn't have any big pushback, no big demonstration.
We had a few that, certainly we got a few emails, not as many as I would have thought. I would say the emails were 50-50, 54 vaccination, or I'm sorry, for mask, 59. So I didn't think it was too bad. We had a couple people speak at the board meeting last night, but not even all those that signed up showed up. So.
Hey, there's other non-pandemic stuff going on, a lot of it out in the Washington local schools. And I'm going to get to all of that. She's Kadee Anstadt, Superintendent at Washington Local Schools. This is Leading Edge. I'm back right after this.